Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday episode of Daily Betslip. It is myself. It is Reed Wallach. We have no NBA action tonight, so that means game of the night. I got to choose and get to go with my Toronto Maple Leafs against the Vegas Golden Knights, the rare NHL game of the night. We've got some action we're going to get into. Reed, I think you have one college basketball pick. Of course, I will stick with the NHL. We're also going to talk, now that we're at the halfway point of the NFL season, we're going to talk about some awards, MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. But Reed, let's start off with Survivor, because this is something that we've talked about now the past few weeks. For people who don't know, me and you are both still alive in Joe Ostrowski's big Survivor pool. It started with 1,127 entries. We are down to 20 entries. We made it to the final 20. First place gets $25,000. Only one person has been eliminated the last 2 weeks, so there's been almost no blood the last 2 weeks. But I will say the 21st person being eliminated does get us to the next prize bracket. We are now guaranteed at least $250. So obviously it'd be much better to win thousands of dollars.
Yeah, add a few zeros to that. I mean, I for someone that like bets at a high volume and stuff, like I feel like my heart rate has started to like slow down with some of these bets. Like, a few like end games like a little exciting and stuff like that. But like usually I'm not like super nervous anymore. It kind of like it's another bet, just keep it moving. And Sunday night with that Chiefs Titans game, I was legitimately like sitting on my couch having like internal like fear of like what was going to happen, because listen, like this is a lot of money we're playing for, and I'm in an even bigger pool where I had Chiefs stuff, and I was like, all right, like I think they're gonna lose. Like I do one with my dad, and my dad, he usually sleeps through it, and I just do the picks, and like I'll call him after the game, be like, we won or we lost, whatever. I had to call him, and I was like, listen, I think the Chiefs are in trouble here. I think they're gonna lose. Like when they punt it from their own territory. And he was like, okay, like, I'll watch, I'll see what happens. I was like, okay. And after the Mahomes touchdown and 2-point conversion, I called him and I'm like, how great is this? He's like, I can't believe I'm awake right now. Like, this is torturous staying up watching this. And then overtime was painful. They go for it on fourth down. So we're here now. We're on to next week. Yeah, I'm surprised the Bills weren't a little bit more of a popular pick against the Jets after Zach Wilson got embarrassed like that.
Yes.
A little bit more of a. I'm surprised the Chiefs were 9 and the Bills were 1.
I was surprised about that too, because the only person that was eliminated this week, actually the only person over the last 2 weeks that was eliminated, was a guy who took the Bills this past week. I was on the Bengals. That was the easiest Survivor pick of the weekend, because they were like immediately up 21-0, and it wasn't even close the entire game. So I didn't sweat a single bullet the entire Sunday for my Survivor pick. But I got to say, I am rooting for you to do well, but also there was 20 people left and 9 of them were on the Chiefs. I was rooting against you Sunday night. I had to.
When especially like if I was like a one, if I was the only one on the Chiefs, you could root for me because like that's okay. But when you got half the pool on one team, you immediately like that's my favorite part of this Survivor pool is like the entries open up at 1 p.m. and you see. And you're like, oh, sweet, I got to root against this team now. I got to root against you got to like see where everyone's at. It's all a secret until it kicks off. So no harm taken. That's obvious. I mean, that's half the pot right there. So we survived this week.
Well, I will say one final comment about that game. You got a little bit lucky because when the Chiefs scored a touchdown and then they had to go for 2, didn't they? Yes. And then the Titans had like 2 back-to-back penalties, so they literally had to move the ball and ended up getting it.
One was offsetting penalties, right? Then another was on the Titans, and then they got to the one, and then they scored. But honestly, I will say credit to the Titans 100%, but they did not deserve to be in that game. They had one first down in the second half. That interception off Kelsey's hand set them up for 3. Butker misses an extra point. Butker misses a field goal. So
that's the Titans, though. They've been blessed by the football gods.
I will say, at a point, the Chiefs should have lost, but at the same time, the Titans were. It wasn't like the Titans were playing like Malik Willis was like carving it up or anything. He looked kind of useless. So but listen, hey, name the game, survive. I feel a big upset brewing at some point, but also now we're at the halfway points, week 10. You're going to start to see teams, are not available anymore. People are going to have to start taking some more chancier things where, you're taking a 3-point favor or something like that. So a lot of interesting things. And now this Josh Allen injury might also throw a wrinkle into some people's plans.
Yeah, so this week there's really only two extremely obvious picks. It's the Eagles over the Commanders on Monday Night Football, or the Chiefs over the Jaguars on Sunday. And I think both of us are on one on each. You're taking the Eagles this week. Is that still correct? Are you sticking with that?
That was what I had circled. I'm gonna go back through. I obviously can't take the Chiefs. We both used the Raiders. I was gonna ask you. I have a feeling we're going to be big Jeff Saturday fans come Sunday. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to say the Raiders suck. This is the time to use them. So like you could save your better teams. Let's get the Raiders done. And then me and you are probably going to be on like the Chiefs and Eagles and hope like, okay, let's hope half the people side with Josh McDaniels, and that's the end of it. So we'll see how it goes. That's at least what I'm hoping plays out, because I'm going to probably be on the Eagles on Monday night.
Yeah, I'm on the Chiefs. I can't use the Eagles Sunday night. I gotta say, it is my girlfriend's entry technically. We can't use the Eagles. We used them earlier in the year, so we got to go Chiefs, and we used Raiders too. I'm just looking at pick availability. Only 6 people have the Raiders left, 7 people have the Eagles left, and 10 people have the Chiefs left. So there might be a couple entries that can't use Raiders, Eagles, or Chiefs this week. So I don't know what those people are going to go. The Bills, if Josh Allen plays, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's not pretty, but like, the Rams are going to beat the Cardinals on Sunday. Like, they just are. The Cardinals are terrible.
I don't know. I am on the Rams, but that's Rams don't look like crap this year.
Maybe you get some people on the Giants against the Texans. That's not like something I'd confidently take.
Maybe the Cowboys over the Packers. Maybe my Falcons on Thursday night.
Thursday nights I kind of like scratch off Thursday night picks.
Yes.
Thursday nights are kind of, you never know. Things get weird there. Listen, I'm kind of running a risk of Monday night. Things get weird, but I think the Commanders have kind of gotten by here with Heineke. Their offense is still terrible with him. I think the Eagles, they're going to trip up sooner or later, but I don't see it now. There's no real, they have basically a mini bye. They beat the Texans on Thursday night. Now they're going home Monday night. That crowd's going to be rocking. I just don't trust Taylor Heineke on the road against this Eagles team whatsoever. So I like Philly. I like the Chiefs as well for you. And I'm hoping you get, even if it's 6 people, that's a third of the pool almost, just under 30%. Take the Raiders, and hopefully Jeff Saturday, some beginner's luck, first NFL coaching up here. It gets the win in Vegas, so we'll see. I mean, crazy stuff. This season's been wild.
So there's 20 people left for us to get to the next tier of payout. We need another 9 people to get eliminated. So it's probably not going to happen this week.
Yeah, unless, of course, one of the Chiefs or Eagles goes down.
Right. So we can't have that.
Yeah, so.
All right.
I think we're going to be big Colts fans come Sunday.
I think so. So there you go. A little quick Survivor talk since we're both still alive in that. But let's get into our best bets for tonight. Reed, you got 1 in college basketball. You got 2 for Maction. I got 3 in the National Hockey League. Why don't you start us off? Give us your college basketball pick for tonight with the season beginning last night.
Yeah, college basketball started last night. 2, 3, and 1 for me last night. 1 just annoying push, and another one that kind of just got away from me at the end. But it's all good. Long season. 1 play. It's kind of a weak slate, but 1 play, 1 trend I'm going to be playing against. And I wrote this game up on BetSided. I found this trend that Providence with Ed Cooley as a favorite of double digits is terrible. He is one of the worst. 35% win percentage, I believe. But then someone else on Twitter kind of one-upped me, so I'm going to credit him, at Jaff373, John Fendler, sharp guy. He found an even more filtered trend of my trend. Ed Cooley as a favorite of 7 or more points since getting to Providence is 9-30 against the spread. 23%. I mean, that's ridiculous. So now to set the stage, Providence is laying 13 in their opener against Rider. Rider, athletic, defensive-minded team. Their offense isn't great, but defense is good. Providence, flex offense. Rider runs a very similar one, if that means anything, familiarity. But also, Providence loses 2 of their most highest usage players from last season, Nate Watson, Al Durham. A lot of transition there. I think it could be a little bit slow. Providence plays slow. So I think Rider plus 13, they could keep this competitive. I mean, the numbers don't lie. I'm not blind trend guy, but there's clearly something to long tenured coach. Typically, when expected to win by margin, does not. So again, 9-30 against the spread as a favorite of 7 or more.
There you go. Back in so Rider plus 13 against Providence.
Keep back in the college basketball saddle.
I like it. I placed my first college basketball bet last night. It wasn't my pick, but I do want to give this guy a shout out. Streak Bets at Streak Bets gave a pick on the show yesterday. Said IUPUI against Iowa State under 130.5. And if the team totals come out, pound the IUPUI under, regardless of number. So I was live on the show yesterday, and I got the under, I think, at 50.5. And it hit by a mile. So shout out to at Streak Bets.
70 to
Final score was
29,
88-39. So the team total under hit by 11 points. So
it's not even like it was like a total in the 70s, total of 50, and it still came in at 11 points. That's great.
Yes. So shout out to at Streak Bets giving me a college basketball winner yesterday. All right, I'm going to switch things up here. Going to go to the NHL. I'm going to start off with my underdog pick for tonight. Going to take the Montreal Canadiens, Les Habitants, to take down the Detroit Red Wings. I don't think Red Wings deserve being this big of favorites against anyone. The record is actually 6-3-2. They've had a pretty good record, but I think now is a good time to sell high on this team. They rank 29th in the NHL in 5-on-5 Corsi percentage, well behind the Canadians, who come in at 23rd. Also 28th in 5-on-5 expected goals for per 60 minutes. Now their goaltender, Ville Husso, has kind of been stealing games for them tonight, and he is starting for them. He's been stealing games for them this season, and he is starting for them again tonight. But even with that being the case, Jake Allen, Pride of Fredericton, New Brunswick, gets a start for the Canadians. I just think this game is mispriced. Should the Red Wings be favorites? Probably, but only small favorites. I don't think this Red Wings team should be minus 55 against any team in the NHL outside of maybe the Coyotes. So I'll take a shot on the underdog here, the Montreal Canadiens at plus 140. Reed, switch over to some action, I think.
Yeah. Tonight. Played this one total at 50.5, 51 a key number, but I still like it. I think that the Miami-Ohio game is going to cruise over here. I think that the Miami-Ohio offense is being significantly underrated here. Brett Gabbert back. This is last year's top 25 passing offense, 275 yards passing yards per game. Gabbert missed like 6 games this season, so Price may not be affected here. And now he's going against a Bobcats defense that's outside the top 100 EPA per play. Can't stop anybody. But Ohio now is doing kind of what Miami, Ohio did last year. Curtis Rourke is coming to his own. This is a top 20 passing offense in the country. I think that both offenses are going to be able to hum the Miami, Ohio secondary a little bit suspect. I think points are going to be had here. Both teams could get into the mid to high 20s, go over this total for sure. So it's at 52 now. If you could somehow get this back under 51, if there's a straight one out there, that's a key number. But I think that there's going to be points here. So I'll take in a battle of Ohio, the over 52, Ohio and Miami, Ohio.
Ohio against Miami, Ohio.
Winner gets the state. Winner gets the state.
Yeah. What a game. What a matchup. All right, my second NHL pick for tonight. Going slight favorite here. I'm going to take the Dallas Stars against the Winnipeg Jets. Kind of my strategy here, at least in the first 2 picks, is to fade teams whose record I think is a lot better than what it should be. And the Jets are kind of how I feel about them in this game. I mean, this is a team that can't put the puck in the back of the net. 31st in the NHL in 5-on-5 shooting percentage. And now they take on a Dallas Stars team that leads the NHL in 5-on-5 shooting percentage. So Jets are allowing 2.02 5-on-5 goals per 60 minutes, but their expected goals per 60 minutes is 301. So I don't know if they're just playing teams that can't find the back of the net, or if it's just Connor Hellebuck who's just standing on his head for them and just playing very good in between the pipes, and he does get the start for them again tonight. But it's going to be hard to keep up that difference between actual goals against and expected goals against when you take on the team that has been the best shooting team in the National Hockey League and the Dallas Stars. So if the Stars can get a couple shots off and keep their shooting percentage as high as it has been through the first few weeks of the season, I think they can get to this Jets team. I'll take the Stars as slight favorites here, minus 115. Scott Wedgwood in net for the Stars. That does concern me a little bit with their starter being out, but I'm not a believer in the Jets. I think we're going to see some regression from them.
I think standing on his head as like a sports phrase is like probably one of my favorite sayings you could say. My all-time favorite is always when there's like a backup who just like bounced around the league like a journeyman. And it's like,
Yes.
yeah, he had a cup of coffee with this team. Like,
Yes.
yeah, he had a cup of coffee with the Jets. Like, I think that's like the funny. Anytime that's used to describe that one, that's like so bad. But I love standing on his head. I think that's an amazing way of describing a goalie.
Is that one you've heard before?
Yeah. Standing on his head. I hear that in like other sports, soccer, of course, but like even like tennis. Like if you're like returning everything, it's like, oh, he's standing on his head. But like I think it's an unbelievable sports saying. But still, number one is cup of coffee. That's the best.
I do like. He was there for a cup of coffee. I do like that one. Standing on his head is so commonly said in hockey that I didn't even realize it was weird until recently. I think maybe someone pointed out to me. I think during the hockey season last year, like when I did a radio spot or something, that they've never heard that before. But it's
Really?
it's said all the time in hockey when talk about a goalie playing well. He stood in his head. Let's get to the chat here. What is Beers and Bowtie saying? Love when Reed is on because there's always something to talk about with the Nets. Kyrie is spending there 2-0 without him. Did they win last night? Yeah, 2-1. They lost to the Mavs last night.
Meanwhile, crazy game, and Durant gets fouled on a 3, like they called it like on the shot. So 3 shots, down 3, missed a free throw. He had made 62 consecutive free throws, a career high. 62 straight free throws, and he missed one. So
can't deal with the pressure.
So 2-1, 4-7 on the year. Kind of looking a little bit better though. We'll see. Simmons still is a mess in my opinion, but I just saw before we came on Kyrie, without getting into the details, but he had like a good meeting with Adam Silver, so who knows? I don't know. They look a little bit better since he left, so who knows?
Who knows? Who knows indeed?
Who knows? That's the Brooklyn Nets story. Who knows?
Yes.
Maybe.
All right. Could you say someone in basketball standing on their head?
Not really, because like there's 5 guys on the court. Like there's not one person defending the rim.
What if someone like blocks like 15 shots in a game? Are they standing on their head?
That'd be like standing on their head, I guess. That would like never happen though. Like is baseball like a pitcher? Is he standing on his head? He's throwing on his.
No, a catcher maybe. A catcher's.
Yeah, I guess if a catcher's like stopping a bunch of like pass balls, that's kind of like a goalie, right?
Kind of. Yeah, I guess it can only be used if you're like stopping shots. I feel
if you're a goal, if you are stopping something from going in a net, then yeah.
Then you're standing on your head.
Yeah,
interesting. So you could never say an outfielder standing on his head.
I don't think that would be the way that it would be described. You know what I'm saying? Like,
interesting.
Like someone like a diving catcher, they wouldn't be like, "Oh, he's standing on his head." They'd be like, "What an acrobatic catch!"
Beers and Bowtie says Sabres 3-way money line. Sabres playing against the Coyotes. Yeah, I
can't hate that. Coyotes stink.
Coyotes stink. I keep betting against them, and they keep winning. Though I think I did. I did cash my last bet against the Coyotes. Though there were another team who just like all stats get thrown out the window when a team is just really good at scoring. Like I don't think they are anymore, but the Coyotes were leading the NHL in shooting percentage. So they'd get outshot by 30, but then they'd win like 3-2.
Yeah.
Parlay with what? A Sabres 3-way money line. If you just want another favorite, parlay it with
I can't help you here. There's just Max and hockey.
Let's go the Senators minus 125 against the Canucks.
Okay.
A little Canadian action. A little Canadian on Canadian crime. All right, you have one more Maxion pick for tonight. Go ahead and break that down.
Yeah. So Toledo Ball State, I'm going to take the over 50.5. I think that this number, or over 50, sorry, it's kind of drifted a little far down because DeQuan Finn, it doesn't look like he's going to play the Toledo starting quarterback. But the backup really wasn't terrible. Freshman Tucker Gleason last week before a bye, 238 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, still put up 27 points. Toledo, the most talented team in the MAC for sure. But Ball State, they struggle against the run. And Ball State has your classic MAC running back, Carson Steele, top 10 in total rushing yards this season. Huge guy. He probably should be more of a linebacker, but he plays running back. Toledo is outside the top 100 in explosive run rate, allow nearly 5 yards a carry. Both teams inside the top 10 in seconds per play. So I think you're going to see up-tempo here. I think that people are overreacting to Finn being out. He is very good, but Gleason looked competent, and they run the ball really well anyway. Toledo also nearly 5 yards a carry. So I think you're going to see both teams be able to score here. Ball State put up 27 points last week. So up-tempo, a lot of possessions. This is a low total. So, underreact to the likely DeQuan Finn inactive news, and I'll take the over 50 as another Maction bet. 2 overs in Maction. What could go wrong?
Shout out to Ball State, who cashed for me last week, plus 220 underdogs. They are now plus 340 underdogs tonight. Should I just take another shot on Ball State money line?
Listen, I can't fault you. Like I just said, Toledo's going to be on their backup quarterback, so it's not crazy. But Toledo, like I said, they're the premier MAC team. They're looked at as kind of a cut above the rest. But I mean, listen, you got to free roll this with cashing a plus 200 ticket last week.
I might do it. We'll see. I'll think about it. I'll decide by the end of the show. But I have one more NHL pick here to give out. Actually, another one later in the night, or later in the show for game of the night. But the last one for my best bet section here is the Los Angeles Kings as a pick'em against the Minnesota Wild. I do think the Wild are going to turn things around at some point this season. I think I gave them out as my buy low candidate last night, but they need to improve both their shooting and their goaltending. Before I'm going to bet on them on a game by game basis here. 23rd in shooting percentage, 28th in save percentage. Marc-Andre Fleury, he needs to pick things up a little bit. He has not played well ever since he was acquired by the Wild last season. 888 save percentage this season. That's not good. A sub 900 save percentage is not going to get it done in the NHL. And in most advanced analytics between these two teams, the Kings and the Wild, they're kind of right next to each other. Like if you look at Corsi percentage, they rank 9th and 11th. So with a lot of the stats being similar, the Kings having the advantage in shooting and save percentage, and with Los Angeles being at home, I like him as a pick 'em. I'd set him at like minus 125, minus 130. So if you can get him at a pick 'em, great bet. Probably my favorite bet of the night. So Kings minus 110 against the Wild to wrap up our best bets. So we got a recap. If you missed some of our picks there, go ahead and bring that up if we have it here. Yes, I'm on the Canadiens. Les Habitants plus 140 against the Red Wings. The Dallas Stars minus 115 against the Jets, and the Kings minus 110 against the Wild. Reed on Ryder plus 13. In some college basketball action, over 52 in the Battle of Ohio, and over 50 in Ball State against Toledo. Do you know Ryder's, what's their nickname? The Ryder what?
The Bronx.
The what?
The Bronx.
The Bronx.
Not like New York, like BRONCS. I believe it. Maybe it's Broncos for short, but that's what they are. They're the Ryder Bronx.
The Ryder Bronx. Yeah, it's just Broncos, but without the O. That's stupid. Call them the Broncos. Why would you take out the O?
There's trademarking issues. They couldn't take the Broncos.
Dumb. You know what? We can relate that to the game of the night, because that's why the Vegas Golden Knights are called the Golden Knights and not the Knights, because of the London Knights. Of the OHL. The owner loves the term the Knights. But he could not call the Vegas Golden Knights the Knights. He couldn't just call them the Vegas Knights because of the London Knights, which is a team in the OHL. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, he tossed golden in front of it to differentiate, which I think is stupid. Just call them something else. Also, the Golden Knights have nothing to do with Vegas. Like, there's so many good Vegas names.
Yeah, they kind of drop the ball there.
Yeah. Well, the Vegas Aces, that's already a WNBA team, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
I always thought they should have went Vegas Vipers. Vipers is an underused sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I'm getting like minor league vibes from the Vipers.
From the Vegas Vipers?
I feel like that's typically like a minor league team name. There's no Vipers in in professional sports, right?
No, I think it's an underused name.
I like Vipers.
I digress. Let's switch to the NFL. We're going to talk, now that we're at the halfway point of the season, we're going to talk some awards. We're going to talk specifically MVP and Offensive Player of the Year here. Let's start with, why don't we start actually with Offensive Player of the Year if we can. I don't know how we have the graphics set up, so hopefully they're separated, but if not, whatever. Let's start with Offensive Player of the Year, and then we'll get into MVP. Who's your pick as of right now to win Offensive Player of the Year? Or you can just talk both, whichever way you want to do it. Yeah, why don't you give me both your picks, because they might tie together, and then I'll give both mine.
Yeah, it all kind of goes together. So
all right.
I think, first of all, it's the Jalen Hurts or the Josh Allen injury changes this whole thing. We don't know how long he's going to be out. The line this week tells you that he's going to be out this week against the Vikings. It's now gone through 7. He has a UCL injury. We don't know. And honestly, news might come out while we're on the air, but it seems like Josh Allen's going to miss time where his MVP case is going to take a significant hit. I personally think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to probably go at least 15-2, and Jalen Hurts is going to win MVP. I think that they are going to take Coach of the Year and MVP because best team, best record. MVP is typically given to either someone who is so far superior statistically or record-wise. I mean, we saw last year, Rodgers came in, got the 1 seed laid over Brady. Brady had the statistical profile, but Rodgers had the narrative and the record, and Rodgers got MVP for the second straight year. I know because I had Brady and it sucked. But I think Hurts is going to win MVP. If you look at his numbers compared to Mahomes, they are not even in the same league. I have no idea why Jalen Hurts is the favorite to win Offensive Player of the Year. Couldn't tell you why. Mahomes has 600 more passing yards. I believe it's 4 more total touchdowns. That's including Hurts' rushing total, which, he's a dual threat quarterback. I think Mahomes is the far superior statistical profile, which would qualify for Offensive Player of the Year. And I don't think he's going to have the record to hold up for MVP. So I think Mahomes, as a long shot Offensive Player of the Year candidate, is very live. And most importantly, he's on pace right now to break Peyton Manning's passing record. So if he gets that, there you go. You have an easy Offensive Player of the Year candidate. I think it will be Mahomes. And then I will digress. I think Tyreek Hill is rightfully at the top. He might set the receiving yards record, but I think Mahomes will overtake him in the end and get the passing record and Offensive Player of the Year. Hurts will take MVP. Ooh, put that all together. I had Mahomes. I bet him yesterday at 14-1.
Okay, first of all, we got to address the chat. Nicole Janoff. Reed, do you know who Nicole is? She says, how good is Mahomes?
Lovely girlfriend checking in who was very happy that Mahomes put on the superhero cape and got me a Survivor win late Sunday night.
There you go.
He's well aware, based on how have been speaking for the past 48 hours, and how good Patrick Mahomes is.
If I were to throw a wrench into your thing here, I looked this up while you were talking because I was curious. How often does it happen that a quarterback wins MVP and then a different quarterback wins Offensive Player of the Year?
I'm going to go with not that likely. Not that often.
Do you know the last... It has happened, though. Do you know the last time it happened?
Not last year. Probably a year when Drew Brees was passing for a lot of yards but not winning MVP. So, I don't know, 5 years ago?
Wow, you actually did nail it. Longer than that, though. It was back in 2011. Aaron Rodgers won MVP, his first MVP. Drew Brees was given Offensive Player of the Year.
What did Brees do that year? Like crazy numbers, or you didn't?
I would assume so. I didn't look that deep, but I mean, if he won Offensive Player of the Year, I'd assume he put up a ton of numbers.
That's why I think that my logic really is that Mahomes is going to put up the statistical profile, but the Eagles are going to have the best record, and Hurts will take MVP. I kind of think it makes no sense that Hurts would win Offensive Player of the Year and Mahomes would win MVP. Hurts' stat profile isn't very good. That Offensive Player of the Year doesn't go to the quarterback of the best team. Then Tyreek Hill will win probably.
Interesting thing that I just found out that would make a great trivia question. Drew Brees twice in his career. So Drew Brees has never won MVP, but twice in his year he won Offensive Player of the Year, and the MVP went to a different quarterback. Because it also happened.
So I'm going down that path. I guess I'm taking that approach.
It happened in 2008. Peyton Manning was MVP. Drew Brees was Offensive Player of the Year. It happened in 2011. Aaron Rodgers was MVP. Drew Brees was Offensive Player.
And I bet you if we were, and while you're talking, I can maybe look this up. I bet you Rodgers and Manning both had better records than Brees, but Brees had better numbers, similar to how I envisioned this season.
All right.
So
there you go.
You, I guess, could give your opinion, then I'm going to look that up.
All right, look that up. Because I'm going to poke holes in one of your picks here.
There we go.
I'm going to go for my MVP, and this might not be my pick to win MVP, to be honest, but it's the one that I think has the best betting value, and that's Tua Tagovailoa. Because obviously right now it's a 3-quarterback race. It's Hurts, Mahomes, and Josh Allen above everyone else. They're all around 2-1, 3-1. And then it's Tua all the way down at 11-1. But I would encourage you to maybe take a little sprinkle on Tua here at this price, because he, as of right now, first in the NFL in yards per pass attempt, 9.2 yards per throw. First in quarterback rating at 115.9. Second in completion percentage, only 0.1% behind Joe Burrow at 69.9%. He is putting up the best numbers of all the starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, obviously, the issue is he's missed a couple of games. The Dolphins aren't going to have the best record in the AFC. But if we're just talking about quarterback play, if he keeps this up, I think it's going to be hard to kind of deny him this record. And I'll kind of poke holes in some other players here. Josh Allen already has 8 interceptions, and he might miss
time.
He might miss time as well. Yes. Patrick Mahomes, 6 interceptions, 66.2% completion rate. I think it's only like 7.4 yards per throw. Now, I know he's throwing for a ton of yards, but that's because the Chiefs throw a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts, I don't really have any other argument for him. I actually think he probably, if like odds aside, I agree with you. I think Jalen Hurts probably wins MVP. But I'd encourage people to take a little look at Tua at 11-1.
My only concern, Tua missed 2 games because of the concussion.
Yes.
That's kind of my only concern.
That's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. And now, I mean, 11-1 now. I don't know. I would have liked it a little bit longer. And I see you have Chubb, Offensive Player of the Year.
Yes, going to go Nick Chubb for Offensive Player of the Year because although it has happened, we did find out twice where Drew Brees went Offensive Player of the Year with a different quarterback. So what's the answer?
In 2011, Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback of the 15-1 Packers. So okay, honestly, this is like it right here. 15-1 Packers, best record in the league. The Saints, I imagine, I didn't find like Drew Brees' stats, but I found the Saints passing offense, which I imagine is pretty much all Drew Brees. Led the league in passing by over 300 yards, had tied for the most passing touchdowns and most yards per game, obviously, because they had 300 more passing yards. So, again, Brees won.
The Saints finished 13-3.
Yes. So, Brees won the Counting Stats Award. Rodgers won the Narrative Best Record Award. So, there's kind of my, I guess, evidence that there's value in taking Mahomes now because Mahomes is on pace, especially with the extra game, and people seem to always overlook that when these records get broken. Mahomes is probably going to set the passing record this year if he keeps up this pace. Boom. But tell me why Nick Chubb didn't win, please.
I'm just trying to look at what year when 2008 when Peyton Manning won MVP, was he still in the Colts that year or was he on the
Yes, he was still on the Colts. I looked that one up also. I imagine Brees was already on the Saints at that point. They went 8-8, and they did lead the league in passing as well that year. The Colts went 12-4.
Colts went 12-4. So there you go. So yeah, that helps your case. Yeah, Saints had the Offensive Player of the Year miss the playoffs at 8-8.
And so I think it makes a lot of sense that like the constellation for Mahomes' greatness will be Offensive Player of the Year, not MVP. Again, a lot of this is factoring that I think Josh Allen is going to take a step back for a little bit.
So, yes, this has happened twice before, but to be fair, the last time this has happened was 2011. So it's been some time since a quarterback won Offensive Player of the Year, but not MVP. But it does seem to be, at least lately, 4 of the last 5 winners of Offensive Player of the Year have been either running backs or wide receivers, and then the MVP goes to quarterback. At least recently, it seems to turn into the award of the Offensive Player of the Year is the best non-quarterback. Last year it was Cooper Kupp. The year before that it was Derrick Henry. I think this year it might be Nick Chubb. This is a guy who people don't give this guy the credit that he deserves for being what I think is the best running back in the NFL. As of right now, Derrick Henry is slightly beating him in both just total yards and yards per game. But, yes, you're right. I am a big Titans fan. Big Titans guy. But they run the ball so much. Like Nick Chubb does not get near the amount of carries that Derrick Henry has. He has 5.6 yards per carry, which is right up there. I think the only running backs who are beating him are like, I think Travis Etienne is at 5.7, so a smidge above him. But he has 10 touchdowns, most rushing touchdowns, still averaging over 100 yards per game. So I like Nick Chubb. They really need to rely on him in the second half of the season. Even when Deshaun Watson comes back, I think that's actually might just open more lanes up for Nick Chubb. So I'll take a shot at him 16-1 to win Offensive Player of the Year.
I don't hate the look, especially just at long odds. I just think there's a lot of time for a lot of players to get back in the mix. Like I said, I don't think Jalen Hurts makes any sense for Offensive Player of the Year. Like in any sort of situation, it makes no sense for him to win. Like Tyreek Hill is probably the most likely to win, but I'd say he's pretty vulnerable given he's a wide receiver. So like, you have 2 down games, all of a sudden you're off the pace. So I think taking shots with people like Mahomes or Chubb isn't bad at all.
All right, let's switch things back to game of the night. It is the Vegas Golden Knights in Toronto taking on my, I guess, beloved Maple Leafs, although I hate my Maple Leafs right now. So I guess, Reed, do you want to go first here and then I'll give my pick? Go ahead. I will say really quickly.
I want to go first. I will happily lead off here. I mean, listen. I generate my own numbers for college football. I'm really into that. This is me kind of breaking it down a little simple, getting a little just nuts and bolts, get it done here. You want to talk about defense? We're talking the Vegas Golden Knights right now, 11-2. Have only allowed 4 goals in their last 3 games. I mean, just absolutely locked down. And then Thompson allowing 2 goals per game. He's likely in net for the Golden Knights. And then on the other side, Toronto, offense just not really humming at home. 1-5 to the under in home games in Toronto. And also as a favorite, it seems like when they have I know they're a slight favorite, but when they have the expectation to win, it seems like it comes more on the defensive side. In games where they're favorite, 8 out of 12 games have gone under the total. So pretty simple here. Let's clench and let's get ready for an under 6.5 between these two playoff hopefuls.
What a pick. Well done.
Listen, that might be the handy. I did 2 college football totals, did a college basketball total. That was it right there. That was
your first NHL bet of the season?
Oh yeah.
Potentially only NHL bet of the season?
Very likely.
All right. Unless you're on the show again where game of the night is an NHL game. Then I'll force you to make another bet. Listen, I will be cheering for my Toronto Maple Leafs. I certainly hope that they win, but unfortunately, I'm going to set my bias aside. It's the Vegas Golden Knights tonight, my friends. Do not bet on this Toronto team at this point in the season. I might still be sour about how they lost in the playoffs last year, but their goaltending situation is a mess. They're starting Eric Kallgren tonight. Samsonov started to look good, and then he got hurt. They're down to their 3rd string goalie. He has a .904 save percentage this year, and 3 of his 5 starts came against the Ducks, the Sharks, and the Coyotes. 3 of the worst teams in the NHL. All 3 of those games resulted in losses. As you mentioned, Logan Thompson, not confirmed yet, but he's expected to start. He has been on fire, .934 save percentage. Golden Knights are 6-2 in his starts. Vegas has you very good defensively, 6th in expected goals for per 60 minutes, 2nd in expected goals against. So top 6 in both expected goals categories. Leafs 10th and 6th, so step below the Golden Knights. And the Leafs, and this is actually going to back up your under bet here as well, Reed. They can't find the back of the net. And this is the main reason why I'm suggesting to bet against the Maple Leafs is they can't score. 24th in overall shooting percentage, 30th in shooting percentage when it's even strength. So they still have a very good power play. If they do win tonight, I bet you they're going to score at least 1 power play goal on the Knights. But when it is even strength, they just can't put the puck in the back of the net. And that's tough for Austin Matthews, who is coming off a 60-goal season. So the Leafs have sputtered out the gate a little bit. I mean, they're still fine. I think they're, 7-4-2 or something like that. Mm-hmm. I have no faith against them. This Golden Knights team has been surprising to start the year. I got them at plus 100, so very slight underdog. I will take the Golden Knights, and the community is on the Golden Knights as well. Plus 100.
And obviously the under. Would you say the under is core? Like, what's more likely? Like, Knights win and under, or Knights win and over? Like, how would you, if you were to see a game going? Like, is it likely we are kind of on the same side here?
Yeah, I think if the Knights win, I think it would probably be an under, because that probably means the Leafs still struggle finding the back of the net. Mm-hmm. If this Leafs shooting gets back on track, then it's probably going to be a high scoring game and the Leafs win. So
let's go under. Woo-hoo.
Trying to think.
100%. I'll become a hockey tout.
Community was on the Ravens last night, so the community is 1-0 this week. I think they're 4-1 dating back to last week. Do you know if they won the poll on Friday?
Friday was Bucks. Yeah, they won. They took the Bucks.
I think the poll might be 5-1 in the last 6 episodes of the show.
Nice.
Community's getting hot.
I'm telling you, I'm going to be 1-0 in my hockey bets.
I love it. I won my NBA pick last night.
Yeah, you did.
Sabonis over 11.5 rebounds. He had 10 at halftime.
Easy. Kidding me? What'd your model have? Like 17 rebounds for Sabonis?
Oh, yeah. 17. 11 and a half.
Oh, my God.
Stealing money.
Poor bookie. Poor bookie who has to pay that bet out.
Easy, lemon squeezy. All right, there's our show for today. What a show. What a night we have ahead of us. Will you be watching the Golden Knights and Maple Leafs game?
Probably not a second. I'll probably
Brutal.
Check in earnest, okay, it's like 1-0 for one good stuff. No, it's action night. No NBA, definitely heavy action stuff, and start to keep, compiling some stuff for college basketball.
All right, let's finish off the show let's talk politics. Let's talk about who we voted for today. Let's talk about who's going to win the election. No, I'm just joking, obviously. All right, be sure to watch the early read. Reed, you went live early today to talk your college football picks for this week.
Yes.
And Daily BetSlip will be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. Myself and Ben Heisler. NBA will be back, so I'm sure we'll talk NBA, some NHL, some Wednesday night college football, perhaps.
Yeah, there's more action tomorrow. Yeah, we got football every day.
And whatever else is going on. So, Reed, any final thoughts?
No, just make sure you're checking out the early read. 44-35-1 against the spread this season. 3 weeks left in the regular season, trying to finish strong. Been a great year. I think I gave out 6 or 7 bets on the show, so plenty of actionable info in there. So, yeah, make sure you check it out on the YouTube page.
Love it, love it, love it. Thank you all so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Good luck with all your bets tonight. Gamble or bless, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.